I woke up tied to a bed in a dark room, and the woman who gave me everything stood over me, whispering, "If I can't have you, no one will." My name is Leo, and I am the 21-year-old university student who sold his freedom for the soft life. Everyone said I was living the dream, driving a car, living in my own apartment, being called chairman on campus, but they didn't know the price. They didn't know that the woman who funded my kingdom would one day lock me in a cage. If you are hearing my story, it is no longer just mine. It belongs to us now. Don't let it stop here. Like this video, subscribe, and tell me in the comments, which part of the world did my journey reach you? Thank you. I was tired of wearing the same 3 shirts to class, tired of watching other guys pull up in cars while I trekked in the sun, tired of being broke while everyone around me seemed to be eating good. I wanted more. I needed more. The difficulty of existing as a financially constrained student in an environment of affluence was constant. I needed to escape the limitations imposed by my lack of funds. That need for status and capital drove me toward Mrs. Clara. She represented the means to acquire everything I lacked. I rationalized the arrangement, accepting her demands without internalizing them. Even when she stated, "You're mine, Leo, don't embarrass me," I heard a promise of wealth, not a condition of ownership. I saw the transaction only as a temporary solution. That's when I met her, Mrs. Clara. She walked into the restaurant where I worked part-time, and I swear, the whole room turned. She was 44, but she didn't look it. Elegant, confident, expensive perfume. That smell of Clara's expensive perfume hit you before she even reached the table. It spoke of money and places I only dreamed of. She ordered, and I served her. She smiled at me, not like a customer, but like she saw something in me. She didn't just see a waiter. She saw the potential to meet that pressure from campus culture I carried, the need to become the chairman. Her eyes were studying me, and I was so focused on the cash register in her life, I didn't see the cage. I never imagined that scent would later mix with the metallic taste of fear. She came back the next week, and the week after that. She kept coming like she was doing a proper research project on me. Each time she'd ask me small questions. Where do you school? What are you studying? Do you have a girlfriend? I answered. I was polite. I kept my service smile up, but I could feel it. She wasn't just being friendly. She was sizing up her investment. She was collecting information, finding the cracks in my life, the reasons I was so hungry. I felt her presence like a shadow, but my mind was already blinded by the promise of the soft life. I was foolishly thinking, this woman is going to make me the campus chairman. I never stopped to ask what she would demand in return. One evening, she slipped me her card and said, "Call me if you ever need anything at all." She didn't blink when she said it. I looked at the card. It had her name, her business, and a phone number that looked expensive. I didn't call that night, but I kept the card. It was like holding a key to a completely different life. It was heavy in my pocket, a silent promise to get me out of the broke struggle. I knew what she wanted. I knew what I was risking. But the pressure to escape poverty, to finally live big and get that respect, was too strong for a 21-year-old boy. That card was the rope I grabbed, not knowing it was already tied around my neck. 2 weeks later, the school fees deadline was close, and I had nothing. My mom called, crying, saying she couldn't raise the money. That call broke me. I stared at Clara's card sitting there on my table, like a glowing invitation. I thought about it for hours. I was desperate. Soft life wasn't just about showing off anymore. It was about finishing school. It was survival. The need was deep, and so was my foolishness. When a big tree falls, a small child thinks he can climb it. I called her. I had already made my choice before she even answered. She picked up on the first ring. Her voice was warm, almost like she had been waiting for me to fall. I told her my problem. She didn't hesitate. "Come to my house tomorrow. I'll take care of it." Just like that. No questions about my family or how I'd pay her back. That should have been my first warning. That ease. It showed me I wasn't asking for help. I was stepping into a trap she had already set. I heard the promise of my fees, but I missed the condition written in invisible ink. "You're mine, Leo." I was walking straight into her hands. I went to a house the next day. It was a mansion. Quiet. Beautiful. Intimidating. The gate opened like a welcome to paradise. She handed me an envelope. Inside was more than enough for my fees. I couldn't believe it. I thanked her, my voice shaking a little. But she waved it off. "This is just the beginning, Leo. I like you, and I take care of people I like." That sentence felt like a powerful charm. It sounded like kindness, like a blessing, but it was just the first knot in the chain. I was so busy celebrating the money that I never saw the small lock clicking shut. After that, she started calling me often. She'd send me money, small amounts at first, then bigger ones. She bought me clothes, new shoes, a phone, everything shiny and expensive. I felt like I was finally living, finally breathing. My friends started looking at me differently. No more trekking in the sun. This was the soft life that I craved. I was achieving the status the campus culture demanded, becoming the guy with the money. Every gift he gave me felt like a validation of my decision, a solid wall between me and my old poor life. I was tasting freedom, but I didn't realize it was just a gilded cage. One night, she invited me over for dinner. Everything was perfect. The food, the wine, the soft lighting. It was the true soft life. Then the conversation shifted. She told me she was lonely, that her husband left her years ago. She looked at me, serious. Then she hit me with it. "I want you, Leo. I want you to be mine." It was no longer about the money. It was about ownership. She needed someone to fill that empty space in her mansion and her life. I didn't see the love, only the opportunity to keep the golden tap running. I was blind to the darkness behind her expensive perfume. I didn't know what to say immediately. I just looked around that house, at the marble floors, the artwork, the signs of immense wealth. I thought about the respect I would get, the car, the apartment, the full soft life. This was the only way to meet that pressure to become the chairman. So I swallowed my conscience and the truth of what she was demanding. I said yes. I promised her marriage after school. And just like that, I became hers. I thought I was smart, getting money for nothing. I was actually signing a contract to become a slave. Within weeks, everything changed. She paid my fees in full. Then came the car. A small one, but it was mine. She got me a fully furnished apartment off campus. The soft life wasn't a dream anymore. It was my address. I moved in and I couldn't believe it. I was living like a king. I'd gone from 3 shirts to a walk-in closet full of designer things. I saw myself as clever, outsmarting the system. I was finally meeting the weight of expectation. But every time I drove that car, I was driving further into her territory. The silence of that beautiful apartment held a promise I didn't want to hear. On campus, I became somebody. People called me chairman. Girls looked at me differently. Guys wanted to be my friend. I felt untouchable, like I had finally won the respect I was chasing. I was living the dream, just like the weight of expectation demanded. But Clara always brought me back down. She reminded me constantly, not with shouting, but with that cold, soft voice. "You are mine, Leo. Don't embarrass me." Every text, every call was a fresh knot in the leash. I was a king, yes, but I was her king. I was hers, bought and paid for. At first, I played my role perfectly. I was a professional boyfriend, always there, always attentive. But after a few months, the gold started feeling heavy. I was 21, and the walls of that relationship were closing in. I felt trapped. I wanted to enjoy my youth, talk to girls my own age, and feel free. Every time Clara reminded me, "You are mine, Leo. Don't embarrass me." It didn't sound like love. It sounded like the clanging of a cage door. I started to resent the beautiful things she gave me, because I realized they weren't gifts, they were bars. So I started testing the waters. I was starving for freedom, for a life where I didn't have to check my watch for Clara's call. I would talk to girls at parties, flirt a little, take their numbers. It felt good, like sneaking out of a prison. I told myself she was too successful, too busy running her empire to notice a small thing like me getting restless. I was certain Clara never knew. I was so sure I was playing her for a fool, enjoying the soft life while keeping my own secret. That was my biggest mistake, thinking I could use a powerful woman and walk away clean. Then I met this light-skinned girl in 200 level. She was fine, young, and she genuinely liked the chairman I had become. I started seeing her. I'll take her out, buy her things with Clara's money. A risky move, but it felt good. It felt like I was finally in control of my own life, using my resources, even though they weren't truly mine. I thought I was showing her who the real man was, enjoying my youth and cheating the system at once. I completely forgot the repeated warning ringing in my head. Don't embarrass me. My greed made me deaf. The girl wanted to post us on Instagram. I told her no, of course I did. I knew that was the one thing Clara would not forgive, but she didn't listen. She was young, proud to be with the campus chairman. One night, she posted a picture of us together, tagged me, and put a heart emoji. My own vanity, my need to be that guy was what killed me. That picture was the moment the chain, which was already around my neck, was pulled tight. I had finally embarrassed Clara, and in doing so, I had signed the paper for my own kidnapping. I panicked. The moment I saw that post, a cold fear hit me. I called the girl immediately, shouting at her to delete it. She did, but I knew it was too late. In this city, news travels faster than light. Someone had already seen it, screenshotted it, and of course, they sent it straight to Clara. I felt sick. The whole soft life facade was crashing down. I knew she'd be angry, but I never guessed the kind of vengeance a woman who thought she owned you could unleash. I was waiting for the fire, but Clara always preferred ice. Clara didn't call me that night. She didn't shout, didn't cry, didn't throw a fit. She just went quiet, and that quietness was terrifying. The next morning, my bank notification chimed. She sent me money, acting like nothing happened. She texted me, "Good morning, baby." But the tone felt different. Cold. I should have known immediately that the generosity was a distraction, a cover for the silence that meant she was planning something deep. I was foolishly relieved, thinking I was safe. I didn't realize that she was calmly sharpening the knife. A whole week passed. Everything seemed normal. She was still sending me money, still calling, still checking in. I truly thought I'd gotten away with it. I even rationalized it. She invested too much to let me go over one little picture. I figured she was finally respecting my boundaries. The silence felt like forgiveness. But the truth is, I was blinded by the constant flow of cash and that stupid desire for the soft life. I didn't know that my mistake was not sleeping with the girl. My mistake was thinking Clara was like every other woman. Then she called me on a Friday. Her voice was sweet, exactly the way it used to be when she was buying me new things. She said she had the cash I needed for my exams and I should come pick it up Saturday afternoon. I didn't think twice. The offer of money was all it took. I drove to her house. In the car she bought me. I was excited about the cash, thinking about the weekend. I was so greedy I forgot the silent warning of that cold text. I was rushing to meet the woman who swore, "You are mine, Leo. Don't embarrass me." She opened the door with a smile. She looked beautiful, wearing that elegance and expensive perfume that used to make me feel rich. She hugged me and offered me a drink, my favorite, chilled. It was betrayal disguised as care, a poison served in a familiar glass. I drank it down, thinking only of the money she promised. Within minutes, my head was spinning. My vision blurred. My legs gave out. The last thing I saw was Clara's face, not angry, but calm and cold, watching me fall. That chilled drink stole my freedom. I should have trusted the coldness in her texts, not the warmth of her hug. I woke up in darkness. My head was pounding, splitting like a dried calabash. My hands were tied tight. My legs were tied. I was on a small bed in a tiny room. No windows, just one dim bulb hanging over me. I tried to scream, but my throat was dry, and the metallic taste of fear was thick in my mouth. That's when I knew this was real. The glamour, the money, the soft life, all of it had led to this box. I was no longer Leo the chairman. I was just a boy, tied up, waiting for the sound of those heels. Then I heard footsteps. Click, clack, click. The distinct sound of her heels on the bare concrete floor. A small hidden door opened. Clara walked in. She wasn't smiling anymore, but she still smelled of her expensive perfume. It was sickening. She looked at me like I was a broken appliance, not a person. You thought you could play me, Leo, after everything I gave you? Her voice wasn't loud, but it was pure cold steel. That was the moment she stopped hiding the truth. She didn't want a boyfriend. She wanted a possession. I begged. I apologized. I cried like a child. I told her I was sorry, that I would never do it again. But she just shook her head, her face completely empty of pity. She looked down at me, tied to that bed, and delivered the sentence that broke my spirit. If I can't have you, no one will. You're mine now, and you'll stay here with me. The words echoed what she'd told me on campus. You're mine, Leo. But this time, it was a physical command. The soft life was over. This was the dark reality of ownership. Days passed, maybe weeks. I lost track in that small, sealed room. Every day, Clara would come in to feed me. She'd untie my hands just enough so that I could eat the food, and then she'd tie me back tight. She'd sit there, still wearing her elegance and expensive perfume, talking to me like we were just having a disagreement. She'd assert her control, telling me, out there, you lie and cheat, but here, you're mine, Leo. The money was gone, but the ownership remained. A terrifying, suffocating truth. The worst part was when she wanted me. I can't even talk about it properly. She'd spray some chemical from a small bottle into my face. It made me dizzy and weak, completely erasing my ability to fight back. I'd drift in and out of consciousness while she violated me. I'd wake up feeling drained, violated, and full of shame. I'd cry silently into the pillow, tasting that metallic fear in my mouth. She had control over everything. My money, my freedom, and finally, my body. This was the final price of the soft life. Outside that room, life went on. While I was trapped and violated, my old life was busy trying to find me. My friends noticed I was missing when I didn't answer my chairman phone or show up to class. They called the police when they found my apartment empty. They knew I was deep in the soft life relationship with my sugar mommy, so the investigation started with Clara. I was just hoping somebody would put the puzzle pieces together and hear me crying in that darkness. My only hope was that the world hadn't forgotten the boy who vanished. The police started investigating. Asking around campus was the first step. Everyone knew about Leo, the chairman, and everyone knew about the wealthy sugar mommy who funded the soft life. So the police went straight to Clara's mansion. I imagined the officers driving up, looking for the spoiled student who ran off. It was ironic. The police were searching for me right in the place where I lay bound, suffering the cruel price of that weight of expectation I bought into. I prayed they wouldn't be fooled by the beautiful house and the expensive perfume. Clara was smooth. When the police came, she opened the door, perfectly calm, wearing her most elegant mask. She probably smelled of her expensive perfume. She told them I thought I was busy with school, that she hadn't seen me in weeks. The house was spotless, clean enough to fool anyone. She was so convincing, I heard the faint click-clack of her heels in the hallway outside my room, and then the sound of the police car leaving. The officers left, believing her lies. I was heartbroken. The golden house was silent again, and I was still Clara's captive. But the case didn't close. My friends kept pushing the police. They never gave up on the chairman. They kept the pressure building. Then months later, salvation came from the smallest thing, a neighbor's CCTV footage. It showed me driving into Clara's compound the day I disappeared, but it never showed me leaving. That little tape was the evidence they needed. It was proof that the chilled drink she gave me was the start of my downfall. I didn't know it, but freedom was finally knocking at the walls of my prison. The police got a warrant. They came back, and this time they searched everywhere. I could hear them. The thumping and the shouting were like music. An officer noticed a wall in the back room that sounded hollow when he knocked. I heard the crash as they forced it open. It was a miracle. The thin wall that separated Clara's polished world from my dark prison was finally broken. The sound of that splintering wood was the loudest, most beautiful sound I'd heard in months. Help was here. Behind that wall, they found the small hidden door. And behind that door was me, tied to the bed, weak, shaking like a leaf. When I saw the light in the police officers' faces, I could barely speak. The metallic taste of fear was so strong I couldn't scream out loud. I just whispered, "Help me." They untied me. I was finally free from the physical chains, free from the sound of her heels. Clara's world of control was broken. The boy who went in chasing the soft life was coming out damaged, but alive. They arrested Clara. She didn't fight, she didn't scream. But as they led her away, I saw it. Her calm mask finally cracked. For the first time, she looked broken. The news spread like wildfire, a massive scandal involving the rich businesswoman and the young chairman. She was charged with everything and sentenced to years. The knowledge that she was locked away gave me a moment of peace. But I knew the memory of her elegant clothes and that expensive perfume would follow me home. The physical chains were off, but her words were still wrapped around my heart. I was free, but the war in my head wasn't over. I couldn't go back to campus. How could I face the stares and the whispers about the chairman who was locked in a secret room? I dropped out. I stayed in my room most days, avoiding people, especially women. The money meant nothing now. The soft life was a nightmare. I couldn't trust anyone, and I was haunted by the fear of those walls. My freedom was physical, but my mind was still tied to that bed, constantly hearing her soft, wicked voice. At night, I still wake up sweating. I check my doors multiple times, searching for that clicking sound of her heels. I hear her voice, "Your mind, Leo," everywhere. The boy who lived like a king, chasing that soft life status and respect, now lives in constant fear. Because I learned the simple, hard lesson. Love built on money and control is bondage. My greed and Clara's obsession destroyed us both. She is chained by prison walls, and I am chained by the fear that she stamped on my soul.